Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris. I am a photographer / audio engineer here in New Jersey, and this is my 2008 Ford Mustang GT convertible with a 5-speed manual transmission. I named her Ripley, yes, after aliens, because this car is a little bit of a psychopath when you push it. It has a 4.6 liter V8 engine producing 300 horsepower at the crank, about 260 to 270 at the wheels. And before anyone says in the comment section, this is completely bone stock. There is not a single modification on it. I will be adding modifications later. I just don't know what order I'm going to do it in. As you can see, it is completely mint. I bought this when it had 30,000 miles. It has 33,000 miles. This car is an absolute blast to drive on the road. It's also a blast to drive locally in city driving aspects, because the gear ratio on this Mustang with this transmission and these gears make for a wonderful driving experience. So let's get in, because I'm sure you all want to hear basically why you clicked on the video, which is the start of this engine. And listen to that come into life. That will never, ever get boring. Let's take a look at the engine. There it is. So, here is the 4.6 liter V8 engine. It is completely mint. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen an engine bay on this generation Mustang this clean. Okay, now that we are back in the car, let's talk about the interior. First things first, this is a GT Deluxe, not the GT Premium. And the big way you can tell is I do not have the My Color feature. That came standard on all premium models. This is a Deluxe, which means this is all blacked out. And in case you're wondering what color the dashboard lights up by default without the My Color feature, it is the split pea green look from the Fox Body and S197 generation Mustangs. This is equipped with the Shaker 500 system. Available systems at the time were, I believe, the Shaker 100, I think. I know the Shaker 500 and I know the Shaker 1000. This is equipped with a trial of Sirius XM, and it has an antenna on the back if I want to continue a subscription after my trial. As you can see, I have 33,787 miles. I bought this car when it had 30,000 miles. It was meticulously kept by its previous owner in Chicago, garage kept, I might add, where he had it for 10 years, kept a meticulous service record, and only drove it in the summertime. So I lucked out with finding a car in the Midwest that didn't have salt corrosion. One thing that I really love about the interior of this car, and I'm quite frankly one of the reasons why I'm happy I don't have a premium model, is the all black aesthetic of the dashboard. Now the premium ones, I see a lot of other POV videos of other 05 to 09 Mustang owners, and they all have the 3-spoke steering wheels that have the silver look on it. This bit here, this bit, and the center bits here are silver. I never liked that look. So I'm actually very happy that this is all black, and I think it looks a lot cleaner. There are speakers here, here, there, and there, and one more on the left, and one more on the driver's side behind me. And yes, before you even say it, this is peeling off like every single 05 to 09 Mustang. I will need to fix that. but this is a very clean space. So I think that's enough talking about the car. Let's take it for a drive. Very happy that this is a manual transmission. This is technically the 4th Mustang I have ever owned. My previous 3 were all S197 generation V6s. 2 automatic, 1 manual. 2 of them were from 1998. The other one was 2003 that I sold around Christmas time last year. Yeah, that's not boring at all. That doesn't get boring. But I've always wanted one of these Mustangs. I graduated high school in 2004. And in the summer of 2004, as I'm leaving my high school for the last time, I saw one of my teachers pull up the driveway in a brand new 2005 yellow GT. And I remember instantly falling in love with the retro body style, the modern interior, the modern engine with the retro looking body, and I was smitten at first sight with this car. I begged him to let me sit in it. He wouldn't even let me sit in it, that jerk. But that never stopped me from loving this car, and every single auto show that I went to, I immediately made a beeline for the Mustangs because I loved this car so much. And years later, I now finally own one. I know a lot of people are going to say, why don't you get a Coyote? Coyotes are so much faster. Coyotes are best Mustang engines. All hail Coyotes. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Coyote is not a good engine. It's a phenomenal engine. I love Coyotes. I've driven a 13 to 14 era second gen Coyote, sorry, and I've driven an S550 era Coyote. Those are amazing engines. But first off, I am not looking to be the fastest person on the road. If I were to be the fastest person on the road, I would buy a Corvette because that's faster than any other Mustang. Troll face. All kidding aside, seriously. I care about the looks and how I feel driving the car more than how fast the car is. So for this, I would sacrifice being the fastest person on the road or even the 100th fastest person on the road if it means I get to get out of this car and look at it. And every time I walk up to this car and about to get in, I would get excited that I'm about to drive a car that I've wanted for nearly 20 years. That beats going fast all day, every day. Even though going fast is pretty incredible. If you ever visit New Jersey, this bridge is basically the gateway to the Jersey Shore. Once you cross this bridge, you know you're about to head for some good times. And before anyone says it, this is what separates North Jersey from Central Jersey. There is a Central Jersey. That's a hill I die on. But for me, the absolute best engine that Ford ever put into one of these cars is this one right here. It's not the fastest, it's not the most powerful, but man, the noise that this thing makes is biblical. Oh my God. That never ever gets boring. This car is a maniac. The live rear axle is not the most sophisticated, to put it lightly. That is basically 2 steps above a wagon wheel, is the rear suspension of this car. Which means you need to know how to drive if you're going to give this car the beans. But if you know how to do it, if you know how to drive, and you know how to tame the rear end on this thing, oh boy, is this fun. For a convertible, it's actually pretty quiet in here. A lot of people say, well, if you get a convertible, you'll basically just be driving with the windows down the whole time, sound-wise. And, I mean, yes, there is a little more noticeable wind noise behind me. But overall, it's not that bad. I drove this all the way from Chicago, and not once did I get a headache. Not once did I feel uncomfortable. Not once did my back hurt. This car is the perfect grand touring cruiser for me. For a mint, garage-kept 2008 Mustang GT convertible with a 5-speed, I paid $14,000. All said and done. The fact that this car is worth $19,009 according to Carfax and Kelley Blue Book, I got this car for a steal. I managed to talk the dealer down because no one in their right mind in Chicago wanted to buy a 2008 convertible V8 with a manual. No one wanted this car. I did. The transmission in this car is one of the best manual transmissions I've ever driven. This is a Tremec 5-speed manual transmission, and I think it's the TR60 or TR50. I think that's the name of the model number of this transmission. Either way, it is so good. It's one of the smoothest transmissions I've ever driven, and the way this thing just notches into gear is so satisfying. It makes for a wonderful driving experience. And you can give this a little bit of punishment and it will hold up. Unlike the M82 or MT82, I don't know what it's properly called in the new ones, you can really give this thing a little bit of punishment. I think now is a good time to do a sound test. What I don't like, I'm sure you heard it, is this speaker right here is rattling. I think the speaker itself is loose, but I'm going to be upgrading the sound system so that won't be an issue. Welcome everybody to Seabright, New Jersey. It's one of my favorite summer towns to come to, and I think it is the perfect place to find out what it's like to drive with this car with that roof down. Let's actually pull over right here and do it. And right away, you instantly, first off, feel the cool breeze coming in from the ocean. Let's put the windows back up here to reduce some wind noise, and let's put a little heat on to keep me all nice and toasty. Okay, we got the top down. We are cruising at the Jersey Shore. There really is nothing better, especially when you hear that sound from that V8. Oh yes, that feels wonderful, and that sounds wonderful too. This right here, number one reason why you buy a convertible is this scenery all surrounding me. You got the sound of the ocean. I can hear the ocean from over there. I got the nice breeze from the sea. I got the top down. Life is good in here. Oh man, that's great. That is probably the best sounding V8 Ford ever made. I'll put my money on it. A great thing about this car and this transmission, the gear ratios that come stock on this, if you're just cruising on back roads like this in fifth gear, 40 miles an hour, it's just above idling. The engine's barely working right now, which means good on your MPGs. I know when you buy a V8, miles per gallon is probably the last number that you give a crap about. But this car, surprisingly, gets 25 to 27 miles a gallon if you drive a little more conservatively. Not that bad for a V8. This gets around the same MPGs as my 2003 V6. And that's saying something. You don't need to take the parkway that long to get to this area. And here's the heart of it all. dark red S197. You do notice that when you drive this car, your foot becomes a little heavier as you go along. Can't help it. Now I understand why there are so many videos of idiots driving Mustangs on the internet. It's very intoxicating. Look at that. Look at that. That's very pretty. So before I conclude this little drive, I want to talk about modifications, because I'm sure there are going to be some comments eventually that will say, what kind of mods do I want to do? First off, let me say again, this car is completely bone stock. There is not a single modification at all on this car. So the first thing I want to do, and I think the first thing I am going to do, is upgrade the window tint situation. I'm going to get the windows tinted, but after that, I think I'm going to get an upgraded sound system in here. After the sound system, I think the list of modifications I want to get are a JLT cold air intake. I'm tempted to get the Roush exhaust, but something tells me I'm gonna like the sound of the pipes, H-pipe, along with a SLP loudmouth axleback. I think that's the tone I may be looking for. Although, I'm open to suggestions. I want a grunt, growling, old muscle car tone. And of course, I'm going to eventually get Detroit rocker cams. And I don't think I'm going to supercharge this. I don't think I want to supercharge it or turbocharge it, but who knows? I don't want to be the fastest thing on the road. I'm not going for speed or drag racing. I'm going for cruising with a little more power than what I have already. Look at that beautiful sunset. You can see in the distance, there's Manhattan all in the distance. I don't know if you can see it from here, but it's a little hazy, but there is downtown Manhattan right there. You know, I was going to end with saying you don't see a lot of these cars anymore, but there's another S197 right there. Well, guys, that about wraps it up for this video. If you like what you saw, please leave a like or comment and consider subscribing. That would really help me out. And if you have any suggestions for the exhaust that I should get for this car, let me know. I would love any and all suggestions. Like I said, I am looking for a 1960s or old school muscle car type of growl. And any modification that I get to this car, I'll be sure to make a video about it and show it to you guys. Thanks a lot, guys. Catch you in the next one.